Okay, so now that we have the listing page ready and the view page as well, as mentioned, let's look at creating the questions, model, and the migrations. So I'll go to PHP Storm, and in here, first of all, let's just create 17, 12, create questions. Okay, and let me just quickly copy everything from the audit, and we'll create our questions table. Okay, rather than telling it questions, why don't we do one thing? Let me delete this and we'll call it checklist. Okay, so checklist items, and yeah, should be checklist items. Okay, so um, create the file again. So 2017, let me see if I still have that. And yes, the copy paste is still present, or the clipboard is still present. So create, remove these fields, and what do we have? Checklist items, copy, paste in here. So my up and down methods are correctly defined, and let's see. So I have ID, I have timestamps, I need one string field, which is description. Okay, the description of the question. I'll have a boolean, which is correct answer. Okay, whether this is correct answer or not. Default will be 0, which means everything is wrong. And table, another boolean, which is, let's say, is archived. Default, let's keep a default for this as well. Default is 0. And so we have the checklist item itself. I will have the description here. For example, do we have a sitemap module in our website? Do we have Google Analytics? So that comes in description. um, Correct answer, so is the correct answer a yes or it is a no, which will decide whether it was passed or failed. Okay, for example, some things maybe, um, let's say, are there any unwanted files, if someone wants to put the question in a different way. So we have an option for that. So yeah, that's about it. So I have the model, migration. I'll need to create the model. Okay, let's just do that quickly. So not the class, I'll just create the file. So we have checklist item. Okay, create items, right? Okay, so this is done. Let me close that out. Copy the audit file, paste in here. So the model, the use, everything is done. Checklist item, and we are done. Okay, so the guarded is empty. So our model is ready. So with these two things done, I think um, we should look at 6, the form, to add that. So I'll say list of checklist items, and this is my form. Action we hash method post. Quickly add the CSRF field. And what do we have in our form? We have a field called description, maybe. uh, Describe checklist. Okay, um, that should be enough. Enter, checklist. So name, description, that is done. I'll need a hidden field to get the audit ID. Okay, id value will be, I have audit in here, right? Survey view, title, yeah. So dollar audit id, I'm passing audit into this view, so I have that. My hidden field is ready, and we need a button. Okay, so we have that. Why don't we keep our form inside a panel just to make it a little more attractive? Mm, this is, yeah, let me, okay, that's about it. Add a new checklist, and we have a panel. All right, so now that we have our form, why don't we create our post route? So in our web file, let's add route post. We'll name it slash audit checklist, save. And we need to create a new controller. This cannot go into the survey controller. So audit controller, add the right question, save. Okay, and let's name it something like checklist, save. By the way, I like naming these routes because it helps me in the navigation, writing the tests. Many of the time whenever I write tests, I need to do this route, and then I don't want to keep changing everything. If I change my URL someday, so I tend to keep the names as a part of my best practice, so that I don't have to worry about it later on. Okay, so now we have a requirement to create an audit controller. Let us go inside HTTP. I'll have audit controller. I can steal everything from my audit survey controller, and I'll just change the name. I think that should be enough. Remove these methods. Optimize my imports. I have only controller required. Okay, that's all that I required, and this method. So question save. I have my request instance in here. Okay, and now what we will quickly do is, let us validate the request. So I'll have data equals request validate. This is new with Laravel 5.5. Previously we used to spin up a validator instance, and we used to do that, but now with Laravel 5.5 we can do that as part of the request. The validate method is part of the request, and we can add everything that is part of the validator object. Okay, so what have I done? I have said that I require the text. I think it's not text. I did it as description, is it? Description, right? So okay, for now, the description is required. It should be minimum 3. I have the hidden field audit, which needs to exist. Okay, that's why the exists validator method, it needs to exist in the audit table, and the value should be there in the id field. So that's there. If I pass this, now what will happen is I'll just create a new checklist item, right? um, so my description will be data description. Okay, let me see quickly. Description, right? So yes, my description will be description is archived. I don't think we need to keep it anything other than 0, because we are just creating a checklist item, so it cannot be archived. Correct answer. Okay, now this is where I think I have to work with the model again. Sorry, the form again. Um, Let us go back to our view, and in here somewhere, okay, um, I'll have a label called, this is going to be a radio button. Name is going to be, name, what should I keep? Name will be correct underscore answer. ID, I don't think I require that. I don't require class, I don't require these things. It's a radio button, so my name is required, and let's just say the value for correct answer is 1. If it is yes, I'll have a BR. I have a BR here, label, and then value is 0. This is no. Okay, let me see the form. Okay, this is done. So correct answer, right? In here, I'll come in my controller and just say that if request has this key, then request input this, otherwise it will be a 0. Okay, correct answer is 0. And obviously we need the audit ID. So my checklist is created, and let's just, oops, return redirect back. Okay, I'm not doing the success and everything right now, but then these are typical things. You can refer to my tutorials and other series to quickly get those things into working. The primary reason I'm doing this is understanding the package, how things are laid out inside a package. And so now that I have some migrations, what I'll do is, as you can see, I'll do a PHP artisan vendor publish force. It will ask me which package. I'll say 5, which is my service provider, and I think new migrations are added, right? This is done. So now why don't we do a migrate refresh and seed? Okay, checklist table, do a composer dump auto load. Typically these problems are solved when you do a composer dump auto load. Oh, it's still not happening. So this says create checklist items table not found. That's strange. uh, you know what, I think what has happened is my database is um, from the old instance. So rm database touch database SQLite. If I do mrs now, go back, still not working, huh? Still say this table is not found. Create checklist items table. Create checklist items. Oh, I know the problem. That was wrong. So I need to do vendor publish again, do a composer dump auto load, migrate refresh. Now everything is done. I think I'll have to close the SQLite database, open it again. I have audits, checklist items. That's correct. So I'll have WordPress small site checklist. Save. I quickly need a navigation. It's getting a little difficult. Um, do I have the entry in my database? Sorry. Yeah, I do. So, oh, obviously, I'm on that page. Um, let's make an entry. As I said, Google Analytics code added. Let's just say correct answer is yes. Oops. Method not allowed exception, which means I think I haven't updated my form. That should be the problem. It's still hash, right? So checklist save, right? I'll go here. Come back. Hit save. Hmm. Oh, I haven't refreshed it. So now undefined index audit ID. AUDID audit underscore ID. That's correct. Hmm. Small mistakes which can really eat up your time. So yeah, I think now it is done, because if I go to checklist items, Google Analytics code add. So this is here. Let me add one more. Um, Let me add one more. I will say sitemap XML added. Correct answer should be yes. And now what we need to do is we need to get a relationship of the audit and checklist items, right? So in here, in my model, okay, I'll create a relationship. I'll say um, checklist. This has many. Okay, and then I need to load the audits always with a checklist. So what I can do is I can create an array of with, which means whenever the model is loaded, it will load with whatever I mention here. So I'll say I need this relationship every time you load this audit, because otherwise I really don't think the audit means anything to me. Okay, this is done. So in here, why don't we, this is our list, right? So let's just say audit checklist. Hmm, wrong place. This is where I want to add this. Right. I have the two audits. So now what I can do is, instead of printing it like this, I can do a for loop and make it a little more attractive. So ul list group, add a for each. And you'll have li. It has a class of list group item, checklist, description. Okay, this is done. Why don't we add this inside panel as well? bspnl, that's my shortcut. And yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, so I have two questions in here, or rather two checklist items, and as and when I add anything, let's just say page speed report added, and we have this. Now the only problem is the latest question is coming below. I want it on top. So basically what I'll do is just a quick thing. You go into this relationship and you can say order by ID descending, and this will ensure that the page speed report added, which is my latest question, is right on top. And yeah, so that's about it, I guess. We have this entire page which has the listing of all the checklist items in that audit. I can add a new checklist, and yeah, we have touched upon relationships with ordering as well. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.